Hi science friends, it's Miss Erin back with another lesson while we're having time at home. So a lot of you are starting to wrap up your year academically, and you might be finishing up lessons, not want any more lessons, but I think this one will be relevant and you can use it all summer long. So a lot of changes are going on outside, and we've been using our tools, right? Our eyes and our ears and our noses and our fingers safely, and sometimes even our tongue. I'm excited about the delicious foods that are getting ready to come our way and are starting to see around. So I'm excited for that because that's great science with my tongue. But a lot of those things that I like to enjoy come from a very important group of animals that we're going to talk about today. And a lot of you are wrapping up your year talking about this group of animals in a certain way. So I know I'm starting to see some animals outside like this that are buzzing around. You might start to see and hear some of these guys. Now again, I have models, not real, look real, have the correct parts so that I can use them to talk with you. Praying mantis even. Got an ant and a beetle. So I've got some animals for us to model and use. So let's talk about insects. Insects are really cool and they're just starting to come around. Insects are very important for the world and our environment. They provide pollination, which is crucial to our food source. Our food supply, our ability to grow our own food is because of animal friends, yes, like the bees, the honeybees, the wasp, all these bees, but also because of flies and butterflies and beautiful insects as well. So we're thankful for insects. They are also very important for decomposing and waste in nature, and breakdown. And this is important so that things can break down in nature and decompose, and we don't have to deal with them, and it's a cycle of life. So insects are doubly important for that. The other things that insects are important for is they are actually a food source for bigger animals. If you think about our food chain, which some of my science friends have talked with me about, there is a ladder. And if you break the ladder or break the chain, the food requirements aren't met. And up the ladder, animals will not survive. So insects are important in 3 ways. Plus many more I just can't think of. Let's be honest. Those are the ones that are most important for what we're talking about right now. So let's talk about insects since they're so important, Miss Erin. Insects are very different and not the same as one of these. This is a spider. And let's talk about the difference between insects and arachnids. So first of all, my insects have 3 body parts. A head. Your head has your eyes, right? Your thorax, which is your middle part of your chest, where your heart is, and your abdomen, which is where your belly is, your tummy, the lower part of your belly. And off of your insect, head, thorax, and abdomen, your head would have your eyes, and again, insects have those special compound eyes, which means they don't have just one lens. They have multiple lenses. They see a lot of things. They have these antennae coming off of their head that help them sniff and smell and realize what they're doing. And all my little models, these aren't broken off, which I'm very happy about, have their little antenna coming off of their head. They have their 6 legs along with their heart that comes off of their thorax. 6 legs coming off of their thorax, that middle section. And sometimes when I look at an insect, it's easier to turn it over to see where the body parts are. So here's the head and here's the thorax with the 6 legs. 4, 5, 6, right? Then we have our abdomen. Okay, and that's where your stomach is if you're an insect. Let's talk about the other animal that sometimes gets confused is the arachnid or the spider. And the spider has a head. They only have 2 body parts. They have a head and a cephalothorax, this lower body part. This is where their heart and their stomach and their 8 legs come out of. And on their head, they have a bunch of eyes. I think 10 to 12 pairs of eyes. So, differences here. Insect, 3 body parts, head, thorax, abdomen. Arachnid, 2 body parts, head, cephalothorax. Legs coming off of the thorax, and we have 6. Legs coming off of the lower cephalothorax, and we have 8. Differences there. So if somebody ever asks you, and you're a student of Miss Erin's, you should know that spiders are not bugs. Now, there's also another animal that falls into the arachnids that gets confused with insects as well, and it's an arachnid. It's a scorpion. And scorpions have 2 body parts. They have this part and this part, all right? So we can remember now, hopefully you'll remember, that insects and spiders are not the same. So let's get into our insects. We've got those 3 body parts and 6 legs, right? We also have a very important type of skeleton. Now, when we talk about our skeleton, we know that we have our 206 bones on the inside of our body. They give us structure and support and allow us to be able to move. Well, insects have a different type of skeleton. They have an exoskeleton. Big science word. Exoskeleton. And that means their skeleton is on the outside of their body. Exoskeleton. On the outside. So what does this help them with? The exoskeleton gives them some waterproofing. They can't carry an umbrella if it's raining. So their exoskeleton keeps the moisture out of their body. And whatever moisture they have, it helps keep it inside, but they don't need any more. It also helps a little enemy protection. They make them a little tougher to get scratched or broken open. So it's a little bit of protection in terms of a predator. They also could provide them with some color. And we have some different insects that have different colors based on their exoskeleton. And I'm going to show you a couple here. Were just 2, but there are many, many that have different colors in their exoskeleton. Now, our exoskeleton, we don't have one. We have an endoskeleton. On the outside of our body is our skin. And our skin helps keep that moisture inside and helps keep us protected from bacteria, which also our exoskeleton does too. So they're kind of similar to our skin, but it doesn't offer that tough protection or skeleton base that our internal skeleton provides us. All right? So we said why that insects were important, and I have an activity for us to do about this exoskeleton. So what you're going to need to do for this exoskeleton activity, let me pick up my little friends here, move them out of the way, because you know I like to make a mess, is we're going to do a little experiment about an exoskeleton, okay, and why moisture, and even on our skin, helps us maintain our body moisture level. So I took a paper towel and I made 3 circles and I labeled them 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to put them on a little plate underneath just to keep it from getting too wet. I make a mess, so I like to do that. Now I have 3 items that I'm going to try, and we're going to see what the benefit of is the animal exoskeleton. And 3 things that I like to try and you have around are the cooking oil, any kind of cooking oil, olive oil, sunflower, peanut oil, anything you have works fine. Some hand lotion, body lotion, scented, unscented, it does not matter. All right, and then we also like to try some sort of a Vaseline or an Aquaphor type of stuff to try. So I'm going to take the time now to put, each dot is going to have its own little sample. So I'm going to tilt the computer down so you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing this, okay? So I'm just going to take a little bit of the cooking oil, and I'm going to put this in number 1. And I'm going to try to keep it inside the circle. The sample, I'm going to try to keep it inside the circle. Like that. Can you see how I did that? It stayed inside the circle. And I'm noticing as I am watching it that it's kind of being absorbed by the paper towel. it's kind of like gone into that. So the second item I'm going to do is I'm going to do my lotion, and I'm just going to take a big splot of my lotion, and I'm going to put it in number 2, and I'm going to spread it around. You can use your finger if you want. But I'm going to try to keep it inside that circle so that lotion is spread there. And then the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my Vaseline type petroleum jelly, and I'm going to put it in circle number 3, about that much, and in circle number 3. And again, I'm trying to stay within the circle, trying to protect all the paper underneath that circle. All right, so I've got my oil, my lotion, and my petroleum jelly here. Now, you need a little cup of water with food coloring in it. And what I did is I did blue, because blue is my favorite color. And we have our droppers, right? Our pipettes that we use to move the liquid. And what I want you to do is I want you to not drop a drop onto there. We're going to try to lay a drop on top of it. And let me show you what I mean by that. And we're going to see what happens. And the paper is white, but the food coloring is blue. So we're going to see if anything happens when this comes through. So I'm going to try to lay a drop. You see how I just made one drop on there, and we're noticing, oh, it just kind of got absorbed. So we'll have to think about that. So next is the lotion. I'm going to try to lay a drop on there. Okay, it kind of didn't stay together, it kind of spread out, but it is staying on top, but it is kind of moving around, you can see, kind of going over to the side. And next, let's try our petroleum jelly. Let's try to lay a drop on there. Oh my goodness, do you see that? What a perfect little drop. And I bet I could even do another drop and they would not meet. Definitely staying 2 individual drops. That surface tension is holding it together. It's not absorbing. It's not moving around like our lotion one. Not going through, but it's not moving around. So 3 very different types of things to test for body coverage and what's going on. The other thing you need to do is kind of, I'm going to lift this up because I'm going to show you what it looks like underneath, which is kind of cool. So when you lift this up, you kind of want to be able to see under. The number 1 circle here to my left is gone through. The number 2 has not gone through, but it's moving around. It's not that circle that it once was. And once it reaches outside the circle where there's no hand lotion, it's going to be absorbed by the paper towel. Number 3, my Vaseline, my petroleum jelly, still sitting there gloriously in 2 perfect circles, not gone through. That petroleum jelly had protected the underneath. So this gives you a little demonstration as to why, 1, we might put some lotion on when our hands are dry. It helps keep our moisture in, right? But also as an exoskeleton base, it helps to keep bad things out, extra moisture, germs, things like that. Another really cool activity that I want you to look at is this kind of, a lot of us are talking about butterflies and life cycles right now because a lot of butterflies have made their way to the underside of a milkweed plant, and maybe you're studying that in your class, and they actually are in the pupal stage. So this is a really cool activity. I've seen a lot of this on Pinterest using pastas or different things, and I'm going to link the Pinterest account that I have in the description here. But I made my own, and so I just drew 4 sections of a piece of paper. And the first section is, remember, Miss Erin's drawings aren't great, so you have to use your imaginations. Kind of a tree with leaves and a branch. And then in the second section, we've got grass on the ground. In the third section, we've got that tree, again with those leaves, that branch. And in the fourth section, I wonder what this is going to be. I see something that looks like something I think I recognize, but I'm not sure. So what you do with this is you take a little paint or a little food coloring or something on your finger. I'm sure you have paint at home, a little finger paint. And again, we just need to barely touch the paint. And in the first picture we're going to do, we're going to put the egg. I'm going to do this so you can see. We're going to put the egg on the leaf. So then I just touched the finger paint, and then I just touched it one time. Now, they're not really that big, and my friends that have their butterfly samples at home know they're not that big, but for our purposes, we're just going to use our finger for this. The second thing is what comes out of that egg is our caterpillar. And so we're going to use the grass to make our larva for our caterpillar, and I use different colors. I did different finger for my caterpillar sections, and I also put on some antennae and some eyes to make a happy face. So that's our larva. The third part of our caterpillar insect life cycle is that caterpillar. Remember the very hungry caterpillar? He gets really hungry after eating all that food, and he goes and he hangs out and he changes in his cocoon or his pupal stage. And I used my thumb for this. Made that hanging down off of that branch. And then he comes out and he changes, and we get our butterfly. You can use your thumb, you can do different colors, but it's kind of a neat little project to do while you're at home. Again, I'm going to put my link to my Pinterest account that has an activity folder for each topic. You can look at all the other topics. They're just things I've done at work, and lots of activities are in there, and fun things to do to check out. Maybe even some YouTube videos of some other things to check out in other folders. But I hope that you continue to do well, enjoy science. Remember, you always have those 5 science tools with you to use, and science is everywhere. So stay well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.